So welcome everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm Jackie, the curator at the Sheldon Jackson Museum, and we're pleased to bring you Danielle Larsen's presentation today. This is her last day and her last presentation, unless she applies and comes back. We'll see if that happens. But before we begin with her wonderful talk, I just want to do a land acknowledgement. So we would like to acknowledge and express our appreciation to the Indigenous people of Tlingit who have occupied this land for longer than any of us can imagine, and after 250 years of colonization in Alaska are graciously allowing us to share this land with them. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you, National Endowment for the Arts, Hanrahan Maxwell Foundation, as well as the Friends of Sheldon Jackson Museum, who are pivotal supporters for this Alaska Native Artist Residency Program that brings you Danielle today and her wonderful presentation. She's been here for about 3 weeks. She gave a presentation yesterday, and today she's going to be speaking on a selection of artifacts and cultural belongings that she came across here during her time in collection storage and also in the exhibits. And we're very pleased to bring you our next artist in residence, Lillian Jackson, who's a beater. It comes to us on September 24th from Yakutat. So thank you very much for being here, and please enjoy this presentation. We'll get some more chairs set up. Got some more people joining, and I will turn it over to Danielle.
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here and so happy to see so many faces today. Thank you all. Thanks to Sheldon Jackson Museum, Friends of Sheldon Jackson Museum, and all the staff, Logan, Mark, Sue, Jackie, and JJ, for being so welcoming and having me here. Thank you so much. I also want to say thank you to James, Mary, and George Bennett, who were so nice to show me around and be great people to welcome me to Sitka. And I also want to thank my friend Mary Marino for taking me on a swim in the ocean. That was great. And oh, okay, sorry. I know I have a really low voice, so I'm just thanking everyone I can thank and remember. And also, I want to thank my work for letting me take 3 weeks off, which was a huge ask, I feel like, on my part. Yeah, I'm a graphic designer and illustrator for Future Elder. And so asking for 3 weeks off at a small agency was kind of a big ask. It's not like it's a big corporation where they could they have a lot of people. I'm the only illustrator. I'm from, I live in Anchorage, Alaska. My mom is from Beaver, Alaska, which is on the Yukon River. She's Koyukon, Athabascan, and Inupiaq. And my dad is from King Cove, which is on the Aleutian chain. So I'm Koyukon, Athabascan, Inupiaq, and Unangax. Here, let me see if I could start the presentation. Okay, I'm the fourth of 5 children. That's me in the center with the lightest, blondest hair. I was the weird child growing up. I was really the odd man out, and so yeah, I was the weird one. Went off the beat of my own drum that brought me to art. This is my daughter and my grandson. They're my loves, and they're so happy to be getting me back soon. This is me and my partner, Greg. Okay, just to let you guys know where my people come from. So my mom is from Beaver, which is on the Yukon River. And from her side of the family, my great grandmother walked all the way from Silliwick by Kotzebue to Beaver. And so that's where my Inupiaq side comes from, as well as my Koyukon Athabascan. Then on my dad's side, he comes from Kinko, but my grandpa came from Unga on the Aleutians, and my grandma came from St. Paul. And then they went to live in Bordakovsky, and then Bordakovsky burned down, and so they moved to King Cove. So that's my whole family. But also my parents met here in Sitka. They went to Mount Edgecombe. They didn't start going out until later on. They met, my mom went to school up in Fairbanks. My dad, I mean, went to school in Fairbanks and seen my mom, and they met up and they had kids after that. And here I come. Here I am. But I'm from all over the place. I have cousins everywhere. I have cousins here in Sitka. So I'm related to a lot of people all over. So this is a piece that wasn't in this collection, but I wanted to share with you. It's embroidered sea lion gut pouch by Mary Armsworthy Larsen from Unalaska in 1920. This is my great grandmother's seal gut pouch. I don't know if you can't really see it, but if you zoomed in, the embroidery she did was impeccable. Like, she probably spent years just getting good at embroidery, and then to sew it onto this is amazing, because seal gut is kind of very fine, and if it's not wet, you could just sew right through it. So I wanted to share that with you. I just my cousin brought it with him to Seattle, and so a week before I came to Sitka, I was in Seattle, and he let me pick it up and hold it and look at it. This is my great grandpa, Neon Titoff. He was from St. Paul, and he was featured in Popular Mechanics magazine in 1922. He made his own carving tools using an old clock, and so they featured him in the magazine. And he lived here in Sitka for a while. I can't believe this, but 10 years ago, I had an artist residency at the Smithsonian in Anchorage, Alaska. And I learned so much from the elders, and they knew so much, and I learned how to process the gut and sew on it. And I learned a lot from them, and this is all the people that were a part of the project. Here's Mary and Elaine and Sonia. These were the people that taught me all those years ago. And that's how I came, and I wanted to learn more about gut, and I also wanted to see more stuff, because it's almost, there's not a lot of people that work with gut anymore. So the more I learn, the more I want to share with other people. Here's us processing it. I'm like, me and Sonia were the only ones blowing up the seal gut. So part of the process of seal gut is you'll scrape both sides of the membrane, and then till it's to a really fine piece, and then you'll blow it up like a balloon. And here's some of the pieces that we blew up, and they're talking about some of the artifacts that we got to see at the Anchorage Museum. Here's some from this collection. This is embroidery too. I was very impressed. I just to be able to see stuff and different forms, like it's beautiful work. And I love that it's a bag and people used it at some point. But I liked both of these pieces. Here's another one that I was pretty intrigued by because it has Tlingit designs, but it also has some of the Alutiiq embroidery and seal gut with it. So I thought that was maybe a fusion of both cultures. So I thought that was really cool. But they have really good embroidery as well on parts of it. So in parts of the collection, I was very impressed by not just the gut, but the fish skin and all of the different kinds of animals that they had masterfully like sewn together. And the stitches are just as decorative as everything in the pieces. And this is just a close-up. But here's some of the pieces just from in their collection that everyone can see. But I really loved the little details like fussy cutting the little circles and then sewing them on, and all of the intricate details that they put into all of these pieces are, to me, so amazing. I've worked with fish skin before and processed it, and it's a lot of work. It's more work than gut, and just seeing the detail they put into every piece is amazing, and I'm very inspired by a lot of it. So, but I loved these ones. Here's another one. This is more of a modern piece that someone made recently. You could tell there's dyed gut, but there's also a little bit of fish skin in the middle. And when you see gut in the center part here, it's kind of a little white. One of the elders told me that when you see parts where gut is like a little white, it's because it got freezer burning. And that's the process if you want parts of it to be more opaque. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And here's another one that I just loved. I loved that the little feathers on top, and it's a little pouch. Like this must have been a little skinny seal because there's 3 little pieces. Like I feel like harbor seals have little smaller intestines. The seals that I like to work with are bearded seals. They have great big fat intestines. Here's a couple more pieces. I liked how she did the embroidery on the edges of the basket on this one. And then I've made baskets before, but I don't know why I thought of making a cover or a top to put on it. And I was like, oh, maybe you should make some tops too. I don't know why I never thought about it, but I've done edging on the tops of my baskets, but I've never made an actual cover for it. So I was like, maybe I should make some covers. This is another piece that I really loved while I'm here. It's made out of quills, and it is gorgeous. One of my friends, I showed it to her, and she said, oh, I think that's from the Kenaitze area. And I was like, it's amazing. She's like, we had some similar work like that. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. And I was like, so impressed because imagine I've done very little quill work, but I have done some. And it was just like putting the quills back and forth. And all of these quills are like wrapped around. I seen another artist when I was in New York City, another artist working with quilts that I was like super impressed with. So I remember when I was a kid, my mom seeing that a porcupine was hit. We spent a couple of hours plucking with pliers quills out of the porcupine. And then a cop pulled over and he was like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, oh, we're just plucking the quills out of this this roadkill. And but I love seeing the how other people use porcupine quills. 'Cause, I just think it's beautiful and amazing work. And here's another one in their collection of the quill work, and it's, you know, they had to dye it, and then they probably had to soak the quills to make it pliable, to make it roll around like that. The cool thing about working with quills is that the tips of them naturally have this part that just sticks. So like when you stick it in, you don't have to really like sew around after that. You just stick it into the leather, and then you could go around and stick it into the leather and go around. So I could like imagine in my head like part of the process of what they're doing. But yeah, it's very impressive. I really loved looking at that. And I also love miniatures. So when I seen all these miniatures, I got super excited. I was like, they're in steam house, little naked men in steam houses, but I was like, they are so cute. And one of them I think is made out of wood and one is made out of ivory. Or it's a combination of, I think the one on the left to you is wood and the other one is ivory. I also liked seeing these Aleut Anunga people out with their modern day gun getting out to shoot a seal, I bet. It's like, this is pretty accurate description of more modern times, but it still has that cultural elements of, just liked it. I also like beadwork. I consider myself a slow beader. I don't consider myself fast in any ways, but I loved these ones. I forgot what my aunt said, they had swastikas in this, but she said they meant something else back in the day, and I can't remember what she said they meant right now. I have so much information from this trip in my head that some of it got lost. But they're beautiful, and I loved the detail on these. This one I think is a pillow. And then I loved this one too, like making a bag. And I loved how the stitching was a part of the design. And it's just so pretty, and just loved this one. Okay, this mask has walrus whiskers. And I love walruses, and as you can tell, I painted walrus, and I was like, oh, that's so cool, walrus whiskers. And so I love that. And then I loved that this one had a walrus. So
Do they both have walrus?
yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't think this one, the visor has whiskers, but the other one with the beaver on it has walrus whiskers. And then this one just has a carving of a walrus.
It's got something else sticking up. You can't tell what.
I think, yeah. Yeah, they're, yeah.
And that's a Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah, I want walrus whiskers. I made a visor one time, and we made fake whiskers, and it's like, I really would like someday to have one real whisker on my visor. Because we made our fake whiskers out of like plastic cord. They look kind of authentic, but they're still not the same. Yeah. These are two fans that I've got to see in the collection. I haven't seen anything like them before, and I just thought they were so beautiful. One elder told me one time that when you see circles like that, sometimes it's either like a whale spout coming up, but she also said it might be an eyeball, so either one. But I liked the simplicity of these and also the elegance of like the design. Like having those down feathers on the end that are a little fluffy. It's pretty.
What's the circles made? Is that
It's
wood?
I think it's made out of driftwood.
Wood.
Yeah. I also wanted to mention that I got to see my good friend Perry's work while I was here. And so that's me holding Perry Eaton's mask. And there's my teacher, Alvin Amison, Becky, and my friend Eve, and we're just chatting it up at their studio, talking about art. But it's great to see a mentor while one of his pieces here while I was here. I seen a lot of button blankets, but I learned a lot while I was here that they use one strand going through all the way through all of the buttons. And I thought that was amazing, but then I seen this really old button blanket and the detail in the buttons is not something I've never seen before. And I was just amazed of the like all the details in these buttons. I was like, somebody took a lot of time in this and it looks gorgeous. This is my cousin James, and he took me on a tour of the totems. And he told me different things about them that I didn't know until I was here, like they all have to be facing water. There's a totem that's a shame totem that they put people on when they don't pay their debts. And so you'll be forever mortalized as the person that didn't pay your debt. But the totem with him and his dog is the one that he worked on. So, and I wanted to get a picture of him by his totem, but it was so nice to have him give me a tour of all the totems and tell me all the history. Probably some I haven't even like totally got all of the information, but it'll come back to me at some point. I have so much information now from this trip that it's a lot. This is my Aunt Mary. She was adopted into the Salmon clan while she was here. She's from the same villages as my mom. She's first cousins with my mom. They're from Beaver, Alaskan. She her husband is from Sitka and his name is George. And but this is the blanket she made. She said it was the frog was a lot of work trying to find a different white to make it so you could still see that it's a frog. And then she showed me this octopus bag. She said they normally didn't come with pockets. It's not until later, but she said she put a pocket on this one. Or to make it a bag. She said they were mostly decorative. They weren't bags until later. So I was like, that's interesting. Why do they call them octopus bags if they weren't originally bags? So I thought that was an interesting detail. There's me. George gave me this beautiful box while I was here, and also this beautiful pendant, a shield, which is a seagull. So I've had a wonderful trip here, and I'm so thankful I got to hang out with the elders and my cousin while I was here, and my friend Mary. And all the staff here has been so wonderful, and I'm so thankful to everyone. It's been a great experience. If you're in Anchorage for AFN, I did a painting for Visit Anchorage, and it'll be on posters that you guys could take. So all these dancing ladies, I wanted to like the maternal side is like the bond between women is so strong, and like the DNA of women are so strong that I wanted to celebrate women. And so I try to get at least one lady from every area in Alaska on the poster, because it's supposed to be about unity, and I wanted to bring everyone together. Yeah, thank you guys.
Questions from the audience for Danielle?
Yeah.
What do you use to make your basket?
Oh, I use gut to make baskets, seal gut, yeah. And then I sew them together while they're wet, or I get the edges wet while I'm sewing them.
And what about the basket that was in the portfolio with the lid?
Yeah, that one's probably made similar. They have to make, I'm just guessing. I don't know how they made it, but I'm guessing from experience, because I've made gut baskets before, that they put it around like an object and then sew it up so it'll be even, and then sew around it with another piece on the bottom. But yeah, I'm excited to try and put a lid on a basket now. That big takeaway. I don't know why I didn't think of putting a top on it, but I think it'll be really cute. I have a basket at home that I worked on recently that I think needs a top. Yeah.
Danielle, can you tell us, how did you prepare to make the poster? Did you look at pictures of friends of yours, at special events, or did you just Google search images? And then do you have any aspiration to make a gut skin parka or like a larger gut project, since you're working that already?
I have thought about making a doll size version, but not a big size version. I think I'll start small. Maybe I'll work up to doing a full size one. I feel like my sewing has gotten a lot better, and it's been I can't believe it's been 10 years since I did that first artist residency with Smithsonian, and 10 years went by really fast, but I feel like I'm finally getting to a point where I'm getting pretty good at sewing gut. It's very delicate. It has to be wet while you're sewing it. I don't know how many times I've sewn through things because I was in a rush and I thought, oh, it'll be fine, and then I just sew through it. But if it's wet, you don't really sew through it, so it gives it a little bit of toughness, and when it's wet.
And then when it's dry, is it flexible or is it?
You could, so when I didn't bring some with me, but when you have gut, there are little small ones there. Sometimes you could like, after it's dried, you could wrinkle it up and make it more softer.
Because if you go apart, then you have to be able to put it on without.
Mhm. Yeah, so I feel like some of them, the parkas were a little bit wet when they used them,
You get moist first and then put it on.
maybe. I'm not sure.
Could be a good challenge. You can
Yeah.
make a part.
But yeah, I'm gonna start small. I'm thinking a doll first. Maybe bigger aspirations later.
Did you grow up in Anchorage?
Yeah, I grew up in Anchorage. My dad was a civil engineer, And so he worked on the North Slope growing up. And so we were just based in Anchorage because he was an engineer, and he went 2 on and 2 off on the slope, helping build all of the pipes and stuff going to the North Slope.
And how much did you grow up with your culture?
You know, I didn't grow up with it a lot. It's not until like my adulthood that I've been thankfully immersed into different programs and stuff that have been, you know, through the university, through the Heritage Center, and all of these different outlets that we never really had before. So I feel really lucky that this next generation of kids, like I taught at the Nungan camp for 5 years. I'm so happy that these next groups of children growing up have the culture right there for them. I feel really jealous about it sometimes, but I feel like every time I learn something, and then it's my responsibility to like give it back and teach the next generation. So yeah.
Do you use also the sealed stomach?
Mm-hmm.
And is it for a different purpose or?
They use the stomach. You could make well, you could blow it up like into bigger pouches, and they look cooler because they blow up into a cooler shape, and you can make stuff out of them too. It'd be the same process as the gut. But yeah, I've seen a lot. You could see a lot of that kind of work when you go to Anchorage, and if you ever go to the Anchorage Hospital, they have 4 floors, and they have these enormous cases on each floor. Like one floor has baskets, one floor has different materials, drums, but I would encourage anybody to go to the hospital because it has so much great art that you could just look at, and they have tons of baskets. And the Native Hospital in Alaska Native Medical Center.
Oh.
It's in Anchorage, but it has a lot of great stuff that you could look at free of charge. Just walking.
Did you speak about the shield that you received as a gift? Can you talk about the symbology of that?
So I think part of their clan was seagulls, and so they wanted to gift me that because I came over, and I when I was talking to Mary, since she's from the same place as my mom, it kind of just being able to talk about her hometown and her family was really special. And so they seen that and they wanted to gift me a present. I feel like I didn't do a lot, but just being there in their presence was a lot of joy. And I was so happy to retain so much knowledge and joy from just being around the elders. And it was a gift for sure.
We should see if we have any questions from people on Zoom, just to chat. Look in the chat. If anyone has a question, you're welcome to type it into the chat. If you could bring one item with you from the Sheldon Jackson Museum collection, which would it be and why?
I think this is only because I'm in love with it. It would be the necklace, the quill necklace. I think I would even wear it. It's so beautiful. If there was something from the collection I would take, that would be it. Just out of pure vanity, and I wanted to wear it, but but I loved it, and I was like, oh, they're so pretty and so impressive, and yeah.
You inspired you.
Yeah.
Another-
Yeah. Yeah, my boyfriend does not like that fact that I will pull over for roadkill, so.
Well, any other questions from the audience in person?
Well, we were just trying to, I was just asking Patricia, because she's lived all over Alaska and traveled, but like what all those different women, what areas do they represent? I recognize one for sure. And then the rest.
So this is a Nungan. This is, like, what was the first one? A Nungan? And Clinket, and this is a Inupiaq. This is Inupiaq. This is the Inupiaq. This is Shupiaq. And then this is Athabascan. And then this is Inupiaq.
What was the last one?
Inupiaq.
Beautiful. Really gorgeous.
It was a lot of fun. Well, some of the stuff that inspired me is like, I had a cousin that had a dress kind of like that. Last year I was with a bunch of, fancy party makers and, they had the best work. You know, they inspired me to want to do this as well, so you have a fancy park.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah, trouble you put. You put. You put. These two are you put. About. Give me one. These two.
That island that you showed, that where one of your relatives was from, that was way just sitting by itself,
Mm-hmm.
have you been there?
Like, I heard stories of my great grandmother walking from Silliwick all the way to Beaver. And they had to walk through mountains, and I was just so amazed by the resilience of what they did. I think I was told like one of the reasons that she moved was that she was trying to have a better life for her kids and was looking for jobs. And so I think the gold rush was just starting up. And so they walked until they got to the Beaver, and then they settled there. But when I think about it, it's amazing too. I'm like, wow, that's a long journey.
But there were, on the Aleutians, you had some relatives, but then there was that other island that was just
Mhm.
sitting.
Oh yeah, St. Paul. Yeah, on my dad's side, it's amazing too. My like, so my 5-time great grandfather was from Russia, and he married a woman from Koyukon. And then they were sent to Fort Ross to build in California a fort. And her kid, after he was born, they sent him to St. Paul. And after that, all the rest of the generations were from St. Paul and Unangax. But the first couple of people that went there were actually from Koyukon. Some people get mad that like Inupiaq and Unangax are so different. And I was like, well, I don't know about you, but I think in my past history, we were actually started out as Inupiaq. So it's amazing all the places that they went to, and like I can't believe that they traveled to Fort Ross, California in the late 1800s, and
Like during the Russian period?
Wow,
Yeah, that's.
Russia and these Alaska Natives built a fort in California.
Yeah, there were two forts, right, in
Mhm.
California that the Russians were controlling.
Yeah,
That was one of them. Wow.
yeah, and some of my ancestors are buried in Fort Ross. And we're trying to get my ancestors either for them to be reburied there, because they, I don't know how it happened, but right after NAPA was signed, they somehow was able to make a dig. And so some of the their bones and their belongings are in like a inside of some locker. And so at some point I'm with my cousin, we're gonna try to help get those either reburied or maybe sent back to Alaska. But it's hard because it's not just one culture, and we have to send emails to every like culture in Alaska. So it's not going to be an easy process, but hopefully at some point we can get it done, because I definitely know one of my ancestors was buried there. Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you, Danielle, for your wonderful presentation and for being here.
Thank you. This has been so great.